Good evening, everyone. Welcome to NTD Tonight. I'm David Zhang. Here is a preview of some of today's top stories. A vehicle explosion at the U.S. Canada border. Authorities say there is not enough evidence of terrorism, but are increasing security as the investigation begins. For the release of 50 or more hostages, Israel approves a deal negotiated for a temporary ceasefire. We have more on what the agreement entails. 4 teens to be charged as adults. The Nevada students now face murder charges for beating a schoolmate to death. Today, a vehicle explosion at the U.S. Canada border. Authorities say 2 people were found dead inside the car, but no explosive had been found as of Wednesday evening. 1 Border Patrol official was injured and sent to the hospital. Law enforcement officials say the explosion took place on the American side of Rainbow Bridge border crossing checkpoint between U.S. and Canada.
As I said, we're not aware of any threats to this area, but I state the caveat that the investigation is ongoing. All I know is there was a horrific accident, I won't call it an accident, a horrific incident, a crash, an explosion, loss of life, but at this time, no known terrorist connection.
People in the area at the time say the car was traveling at a very high speeds before the explosion. Footage from earlier in the day shows a fire under the bridge and haze surrounding the area. The explosion prompted multiple U.S.-Canada border crossings to close. As of Wednesday afternoon, traffic resumed on both the Peace Bridge and Lewiston-Queenston Bridge. Meanwhile, Buffalo Airport rolled on X. Cars entering the airport will undergo additional screening. Amtrak says it has temporarily suspended routes connecting New York and Canada. In Canada, Toronto police said they are increasing patrols throughout the city out of an abundance of caution.
We're taking this circumstance very seriously, but to speculate on the origin of this particular circumstance, the reasons why this may have happened, until we have more accurate information, is simply not responsible.
Authorities on the U.S. and Canadian side say they are investigating the situation and the possible motive. We'll keep you updated as the information becomes available. And here is a recap of some other national headlines from today. Utah Republican Celeste Maloy won a special election yesterday, becoming the newest member of Congress. The special election was held to replace Republican Chris Stewart, who vacated his seat to care for his ill wife. Maloy defeated a Democratic state senator and some third-party candidates to win her seat in Utah's 2nd District. Maloy was a former congressional aide for the man she replaced, Chris Stewart. She will join the state's 3 other Republican House members. The state's 2 senators are also Republican. Her election now returns the number of House representatives back to 435. Retiring after 3 decades in Congress, California Congresswoman Anna Eshoo is stepping down. The Silicon Valley Democrat announced she is not seeking re-election next year. Eshoo's retirement will likely kick off a fierce race for her seat. The district encompasses Silicon Valley as well as parts of San Jose and San Mateo County. It's a safe Democratic seat. Eshoo joins more than a dozen House Democrats who are either retiring or running for a different office next year. Almost half of them, 6, are from California. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries saluted Eshoo's years of public service. In Iowa, voter fraud in the 2020 elections. The wife of an Iowa county supervisor was convicted yesterday on over 50 counts of voter fraud. That was in her husband's unsuccessful Congress bid in 2020. Kim Taylor, a Vietnam native, approached the numerous voters of Vietnamese heritage who don't understand English very well. She then filled out and signed election forms and ballots on behalf of them and their English-speaking children. Taylor remains free pending sentencing. She faces up to 5 years in prison on each charge. Over 200 migrants were found locked in a trailer in southern Mexico yesterday. 26 of them were minors. Mexican authorities found the group huddled together in the back of a tractor trailer after a road chase. The driver abandoned the vehicle and fled. Most of the migrants are from El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala. They were later moved to the local migration station, where they underwent a medical checkup and received water and food. A leaked diversity, equity, and inclusion glossary from the National Security Administration has come under GOP scrutiny. The NSA says the glossary is intended to, quote, provide a starting point for engaging in open and honest conversation. Terms published in the document include critical race theory, drag queen, and gender fluid. The Daily Wire first published and reported on the 34-page document November 15th. The glossary also listed terms such as white fragility and white privilege. Other terms listed included transmisogyny and transphobia. The document contains more than 300 definitions in total. Republicans have also criticized the Pentagon for pushing what they call a woke agenda. They say prioritizing DEI over military readiness and national security threatens the U.S. For more details of these stories, please visit ntd.com. Israel approved a deal with Hamas to release 50 hostages in exchange for a 4-day ceasefire in Gaza. The Israel National Security Council said hostages are expected to be released after Friday. NTD's Jeremy Sandberg has more on the exchange and what comes next.
Nearly 7 weeks after being kidnapped from Israel, groups of hostages being held by Hamas terrorists could be going home. Israel says more than half hold foreign and dual citizenship from some 40 countries. They are expected to come in groups of a dozen or more people over the 4-day pause. The deal, mediated by Qatar, Egypt, and the U.S., follows weeks of on and off negotiations. Qatar stated Wednesday the pause would be subject to extension and that the start of it would be announced within 24 hours. The deal requires Israel to allow hundreds of trucks of humanitarian, medical, and fuel aid to enter Gaza. Israel will also need to free 150 jailed Palestinians and put out a list of prisoners from which they will be selected. The 300 security prisoners on the list are nearly all males under 18, arrested in the West Bank during counter-terror operations. None have been convicted of murder. 13 are women, with the rest to remain as potential exchanges for more Israeli hostages. Israeli citizens have a 24-hour window to ask the Supreme Court to block the Palestinian prisoners' release before the deal can be implemented. Israel's military says Hamas is holding roughly 240 hostages captive, including foreign nationals from 26 countries. The kidnappings took place on October 7th, when terrorists killed around 1,200 people. To date, only 4 captives have been released. Family members of those taken say more will bring hope.
It helps give those of us who won't see their loved ones back the ability to keep going for as long as we need to until we see them all back.
That this deal will follow through and that these hostages, these children, will be back home with their families in the next couple days.
We keep our hope for 46 days. We won't give up now.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu assured his war cabinet that Israel's mission to destroy Hamas and return all the hostages remains the same. The Hamas terror organization stated on the striking of the agreement that its fingers are on the trigger. Jeremy Sandberg, NTD News.
Prosecutors in Las Vegas have formally charged the 4 high school students with murder in the deadly beating of their schoolmate. That was all caught on video. NTD's Christina Corona has more on the update.
4 teenagers appeared in a Las Vegas courtroom Tuesday, where they were charged as adults with second-degree murder. They were accused of beating Rancho High School student 17-year-old Jonathan Lewis to death on November 1st.
What you see in the video, though, is approximately 10 subjects kicking, stomping, and punching our victim, Jonathan, as he's on the ground, not defending himself, and to the point where he becomes unconscious.
Lewis was allegedly defending a friend before being attacked by 15 people.
During our investigation, we quickly learned that the fight was actually over a pair of stolen wireless headphones and possibly over a stolen marijuana vape pen from incidents that occurred earlier in the week.
The fight occurred in the alleyway east of Rancho High School.
We also learned that how the victim ended up back at Rancho was that after the fight occurred, he was laying unconscious and unresponsive in the back alley, and a citizen nearby saw him, began attending to him, and carried him back to Rancho High School.
On November 7th, family members advised that Lewis was currently medically brain dead.
An autopsy was performed by the Clark County Coroner's Office on the victim, where his cause of death was blunt force trauma homicide.
At least 8 of the 10 teenage students who took part in the attack have been arrested, and the LVMPD executed 9 search warrants at various residences throughout the Las Vegas Valley.
During those search warrants, detectives were able to obtain numerous clothing from the residences that the suspects wore during the attack on Mr. Lewis. All subjects that were arrested in this incident range from the age of 13 to 17.
Dontrell Beaver, 16, Gianni Robinson, 17, Damian Hernandez, 17, and Travion Randolph, 16, are currently charged as adults. Other students involved await separate hearings because they are under the age of 16. In Nevada, a teenager accused of murder can be charged as an adult if they were 13 or older at the time of the alleged crime. Anyone with videos of the beating or who were witnesses are urged to contact the LVMPD homicide section, or if you wish to remain anonymous, the video can be shared through Clark County through Crime Stoppers in Nevada. Christina Corona, NTD News.
We'll take a short break now, everybody, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come back. Good news for the holiday, turkey prices are down this year compared to last year. We visited a turkey farm to find out why. A local California food drive is giving back to the community for Thanksgiving. They share more on what the holiday means to them. Those stories and more coming up on NTD Tonight. Welcome back to NTD Tonight. I'm your host, David Zhang. Rapper A$AP Rocky to stand trial after judge ruled that there is enough evidence he fired a gun at his childhood friend. The shot came after an altercation between the two men.
A Los Angeles judge ruled Monday that there is enough evidence for A$AP Rocky to stand trial on charges that he fired a gun at a former friend and collaborator on the streets near a Hollywood hotel in 2021. Superior Court Judge M.L. Viller made the ruling in a preliminary hearing after listening to roughly a day and a half of testimony from 2 witnesses. Rocky pleaded not guilty to 2 felony counts of assault with a semi-automatic firearm. Prosecutors said the 35-year-old rapper, fashion mogul, and 2-time Grammy nominee could receive up to 24 years in prison if convicted on all charges. But Rocky's attorney believes they will win the case.
That's why jury's going to come into play here. Common sense is going to prevail, and we're going to get him through this, and he's going to be vindicated. But the evidence we have that they don't know about is going to be devastating.
On the first day of the hearing, Terrell Efron testified that he and Rocky, a friend since childhood, had belonged to the same collective of musicians and artists at the New York high school. He said their relationship had started to go sour and resulted in a standoff in Hollywood on November 6, 2021. He said Rocky first pulled a gun on him and in a later confrontation fired shots that grazed Efron's knuckles. Prosecutors played a video from near the scene where no people were initially visible, but what sounds like 2 gunshots can be heard. Then a man comes running around the corner, then slows to a walk. The man's identity is not clear in the video, but an LAPD detective testified that they determined it was Rocky. Rocky was arrested at Los Angeles International Airport in April and charged in August. He arrived in the courtroom Monday morning after spending the weekend at Formula One Las Vegas Grand Prix auto race, where he had a prominent role as Puma's creative director in the clothing brand's partnership with F1.
An appeals court recently ruled that California can share gun owners' personal information with researchers. This decision reverses last year's ruling to block it, citing privacy concerns.
A state appeals court ruled that California can continue providing personal information of gun owners to researchers to study gun violence. This reverses last year's decision by a lower court judge who said such data sharing violates privacy rights. In 2021, Governor Gavin Newsom signed a law allowing the state's Department of Justice to share identifying information of more than 4 million gun owners in California with qualified research institutions to help them better study gun violence, accidents, and suicides. The information, which the state collects with every firearm sale to perform background checks, include names, addresses, phone numbers, and any criminal records, among other things. Under the law, researchers can use the information and make their findings public, but can't release any identifying information of gun owners. In response, gun owners and organizations sued the state, arguing that the disclosure of their information violates their privacy rights. San Diego County Superior Court Judge Catherine Bacall ruled to temporarily block the law last October. But on Friday, a 3-judge panel of the California Court of Appeals for the 4th District found that the lower court failed to consider the state's interest in studying and preventing gun violence in its analysis before halting the law. In the opinion, Associate Justice Julia C. Calif sent the case back to the lower court and said the preliminary injunction must be reversed.
Lower turkey prices bring relief amidst a food inflation surge. NTD's Stephanie Sikal tells us more from a turkey farm.
Food inflation has risen with a 2.1% year-over-year increase in October, according to the Consumer Price Index. Despite this, Thanksgiving dinner costs are expected to decrease, mainly to lower turkey prices. Today, we're visiting Pollera La Princesa to check out these turkey prices. The American Farm Bureau Federation reports a 4.5% reduction in the average cost of a dinner for 10 people to $61.17. Survey data indicates lower prices for almost every Thanksgiving menu item, notably an 18% drop in cranberry prices. The key contributor to the cost decrease is the 5.6% drop in the average price of a 16-pound turkey to $27.35.
Their price is based on the pound. The pound starts at $2.89, and it depends on how much they weigh. There are 2 types of turkeys we offer. A white one from a farm which has more hormones, compared to the black one raised on a ranch, which is the people's choice because it has more of a rich flavor to it. The average price for a full white turkey is around $40, and a black turkey would come out to approximately $60. Prices have remained the same, and we have not seen an increase compared to what we usually see in other foods.
The surplus is attributed to increased turkey production following the avian influenza impact last year, resulting in a loss of 6 to 7 million turkeys. Some grocery stores are cautious in turkey orders due to high inflation, leading to leaner purchases. While farmers anticipate higher revenues, increased costs, especially fed, may result in lower profits. Stephanie Sikal, NTD News, California.
To wrap up the night with a more Thanksgiving spirit, let's zoom in on Northern California for what locals are grateful for at an annual food drive. NTD's David Lamb has the story.
As the nation heads towards the season of giving, let's see what volunteers are doing in the heart of Silicon Valley. What does Thanksgiving mean to you?
Trying to give back. I've been blessed in my life and been given a lot of opportunities, and there's a lot of people that don't have enough food for their family or whatever, so whatever I can do to help out. I had my daughter here with me today. Just a good feeling to give back. Normally I do about 4 days a week.
Sacred Heart Community Service prepared thousands of boxes running on volunteers.
This is the 59th year that we've done our holiday food distribution. It started out this year with the distribution of nearly 4,000 boxes. In fact, we're almost at the end of our 3-day distribution period. I think what I'm really thankful for is seeing how many people in our community actually step up to care. Like people that sign up to volunteer, people that make donations to organizations and our sister organizations that are helping to make sure families have what they need. That is something that's really inspiring to me.
Many recipients are either in financial need or lack essential services.
I really wish everyone to be happy forever. And the only things we should always thank God that we are alive, we are together, and we are healthy, and all around are happy. And that is my wish for Thanksgiving for everyone.
Sacred Heart aims to spread joy this holiday season, but it needs helping hands to reach their upcoming drive for Christmas, including a toy drive.
As you can probably imagine, this is a big undertaking, and so we really need the community to come together. To make the operation super successful, we need 4,000 holiday proteins, canned goods, and the like, but also a very audacious 18,000 toys to give a wonderful holiday happy season. So,
According to Sacred Heart, people can drop off items, donate online, or even gift through an Amazon wish list.
So that's the 59th food drive tradition for Sacred Heart in San Jose, California. And donors, volunteers, and the staff hope to have many more to come. In San Jose, California, David Lamb, NTD News.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We would like you to join us again on NTD Tonight every weekday at 9 p.m. I'm David Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.